Hey everyone, welcome to another wonderful episode of Top Clack. I am Man of Interest, aka Huey, joined by my wonderful co-host on the far right, Quakums, aka Brian, and today we are joined by our good friend Donutcat of Donut Cables. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty okay. I think I'm doing well.
So what have you been up to lately with Donut Cables?
Making cables, because cables always takes time.
I never would have guessed that you made cables.
Oh no, I mean, who? It's a secret. I don't tell anybody. Nobody's supposed to know. Nobody can.
I'm really disappointed that you don't make donuts. Sorry, go on.
I can. I know how to make them, but it takes up. That also takes time. You know, everything takes so much time to do, and it's just like, how am I supposed to have time to do nothing? But yeah, making cables, working on, group buy stuff, because that's always happening. I've got a couple little projects that I'm also working on. Huey knows one of them, the one that I can't actually say too much about, I don't think. Secrets.
Can you say anything about it?
You can say this. You can say this. If I'm doing this the right way.
Okay, so
this letter.
I already know exactly what that is.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Letters.
Letters. That's appropriate.
I could probably say a little bit more, but yeah, let's stick with that. A little bit more mysterious that way.
Yeah. So you've been doing cables for a while. That was kind of what you started with, correct?
Oh yeah, cables is like, it all started because I'm trying to think. I think I was in the Discord channel for the subreddit, and somebody was talking about getting custom cables made, and I think they complained about the price of cables. They were like, wow, this is like $20. And I'm like, I don't know, I bet I could do that for like $5. And I did. I made cable. Like, I made my very first cable in, I want to say, the end of July 2016. So it's been just a little bit over a year at this point since I sold my first cable. And I don't sell them for $5 anymore. I did for a while, but that I found out after a while that wasn't a very good business model.
Then you realize that your time actually equates to money.
Yeah, see, I can make stuff. I'm okay at making stuff. Business, I'm not that good at business. Like, even still, I'm still kind of learning how to do all the business stuff. It's difficult, but I'm getting there, I think.
So not too long ago, you actually released a PCB, right? The Donut 81, was it?
Released. It's still in the works, but yeah, it's
You had prototypes, if I recall. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of them. Very, very nicely SMD soldered by that Canadian, because I can't SMD solder. It's awful.
Yeah, I can, but I never want to.
No, never want to. Never want
But
to.
this is still, the PCB itself is essentially done. Like, it's got everything done for it that it needs to. It's functional. I could sell it if I wanted to, but I'm currently waiting and working with someone on getting a case made for it so that it can be sold as a kit. Hopefully a very budget-friendly kit. I'm hoping for under 100 for it, but we'll see if that happens or not.
That's definitely
it's 75%, right? Hence the 81. Is that
80? Yeah, 75%.
Yeah.
With Alp support, and if you look across the top, you'll notice it's a whole bunch of Swiss cheese, because it supports different top row layouts. Because the whole reason I made it is somebody complained to me, they're like, I want to like 75%, but it looks weird because the top two rows line up, like on a 96 key. And I'm like, you can just, shift it half a unit. And they're like, but nobody has that. So I'm like, okay, let's make it. And that's how that got started. And it still isn't done, but soon.
Hopefully soon.
Soon TM. Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
what kind of other projects are you working on? Are you still most vendors in the community? I feel like they start out with custom cables. That's really common. And
You
then
know,
they
cables
shift
are-
away from that into like all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's because cables are a really simple thing to start with. Like, they're not very difficult at all. There's only a few pieces involved. It's easy to source the stuff for it. Like right now, I still actually source, let's see, my cable and my paracord I both get from American vendors, which is, Woo USA, but at the same time it's like, for the cable at least, it's like,
Buddy.
it's the same exact thing they make in China. Like, I can almost guarantee they're getting the parts from China. They're just branding it American. So I'm actually working now on transitioning to being able to more effectively and efficiently source all my stuff for it so I can keep making cables. Because I don't want to transition out of cables. I really like them, and people like them, so why stop?
Yeah, definitely.
But let's see. Another project I've got going. Currently, actually, I've got my group buy for the metal braid cables, which I'm pretty sure several people have seen them the past, I think 2 episodes they've been on. Yeah, Huey's got his. I've got a couple. Let's see. I don't know how well these are going to show up. I got a couple samples here of the brass, the stainless steel, and the copper here. So that's something I'm working on. Let's see. Come on.
Nice. Yeah, I just
There
posted
you
a link to that in the chat. It looks like the group buy is still open, correct?
Yeah, group buy goes until, you know what, let me check the date that I put on the thing. The 19th. The 19th is when it'll actually close. And currently, like I said, the stainless steel has 21 orders, so it is hit MOQ, so it's guaranteed to happen. Copper is hit 18, so it's past MOQ, it'll happen. Brass it's close, it's a little over halfway there, it's at 8 orders, so, a couple more, and if it doesn't quite hit 15, I'll probably help it up a little bit, just because there's enough people that do want it. I'd hate to see them not get it.
For sure. Yes.
So that's happening. I've actually got another thing that I just released today. So, I've got piles of stuff, and I've lost it. Oh no. But let me see if I can find it really quick. I accidentally closed the tab for it.
Control
I'm
Shift
doing
T
and
or whatever the hotkey is, I think.
Yes.
Control Shift
yeah.
T.
Well, I might have closed the entire window when I did it. But I'm doing an interest check for MDPCX cables, which that is a mouthful when I say it out loud.
Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, I actually can. I've got a nice little baggie of, samples here to talk about. MDPCX is a German-made cable sleeving material. It's actually, explicitly made for sleeving cables, mostly like power supplies and stuff in computers. But they actually make a nice size of it, and here's, a whole handful of different colors of it. It's like, it's plastic, like TechFlex, but at the same time, it's got let me find a good color. Let's see, that's not gonna,
Oh.
it's on my hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There
if
we
you
go.
notice, it's got a much tighter weave, like the weave of paracord, and it'll expand quite a bit, but it's fairly tight. And they got a whole bunch of colors. I think there's like 34 or 35 different colors. So I'm really interested in starting making cables with this, but the problem is the cost for it is a whole lot buying paracord. Like, it's about 5 or 6 times the price of paracord, and because there's so many colors of it, it would be a pretty hefty investment to try and just randomly buy some colors and hope that people like them. So I feel like in this case, trying to run a small group buy of it is the best way to find out what people want and be able to start making what people want with it. So I feel like that's the safe move in order to not mess up, because not messing up is sometimes.
It's pretty important in group buys, it turns out.
Who would have guessed? Who would
Yeah.
have guessed?
Yeah, not messing up in group buys. That's the dream. Yeah, so I think
this guy in
I'm
chat
hoping
gets
so
it.
far the results of that look pretty good.
First person in chat, you understand. The last
Yes.
person in chat.
Texas Breakfast gets it. Before the show, I said I'm going to call Huey the Terminator all show.
Yep, he caught it.
Or Ray Charles.
Yeah, so right now the interest check has, 30 responses, which is pretty good. We're getting a pretty good spread of responses as well, I think. Throw
Right.
that in chat. Oh, that.
You're viciously cutting in and out.
Yes.
Richard.
All right, let me.
I think it's your internet.
Might be the internet.
Yeah.
Not the best.
Yeah.
Oh, that was. Yeah, I noticed that one. Oh boy.
Well, hopefully we can get
The
back.
problem is I'm trying to be on Skype with Twitch open at the same time. So
just pause the stream.
Yes.
That way you can still see chat.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's. Let me go and see what else I can close.
Because you were fine for most of the time.
I bet you it's as soon as I tried to open a window, it was like, not doing it.
You're at your max
I
capacity.
don't wanna.
Interwebs,
Yeah,
please.
it's like I had just as many, and then it's like no more. But yeah. So I think that's what I got going on right now. At least all of what I can talk about. Well, I mean, I'm forgetting the big one, the group buy for Royal Alpha that I'm running at this right now. How do I forget about that? Yeah, so that's happening as well, and for me, well, the second time I've tried to run it in the past month, I guess, it's doing slightly better this time, which is always nice.
Slightly better is good.
Indeed.
It's still not where I would like it to be, but unfortunately, the euro is pretty strong at the moment. It's, I think, 8% more valuable than it was when I ran Coniferous, and that just hurts. And then, yeah, GMK's pricing is also pretty aggressive, which isn't doing it any favors.
Yeah, I noticed the price, at least at the 150 MOQ, is a little on the high side. Like a full set is going to be over $170. It looks like, which not totally out of the ordinary, but definitely on the high side.
Yeah, it's definitely more than I wanted it to be, but unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of. GMK is the one that makes the prices. They don't haggle. They're just like, this is what it is.
For sure.
So it's what I have to work with, and I really don't want it to be that high. If it was my choice, I'd make the key set super cheap so that more people could buy it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I said I'm not the one in charge of that. I got to take the price GMK gives me and hope that not too many people yell at me about it.
This community is really good at yelling at people.
Oh yeah.
Anything and everything.
They're really good at yelling. I'm one of them. I mean, I have some opinions, and I'm good about telling people about them.
Yes.
So
especially in long multi-point post form.
I like to be thorough, and I don't want to leave it, half finished. It's like eating half a sandwich and then just leaving it on the counter.
Nobody better do that.
Might as well eat the whole thing.
Eat all of your damn sandwich. So do you think the pad printing has a huge effect on the price?
I think that's one of the things, is the words pad printing are, evil words. People are like, pad printing, that means it's bad quality. And unfortunately, you have cheap key sets to blame for that. The ones, the no-name OEs that put out key sets, the lowest bidder, and, you wear the print off with a couple weeks of hard use, and that just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. So then you have the same words, pad printing, and everybody is automatically, ooh, scary.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping GMK seems to do quality in everything else. I'm hoping their pad print is up to snuff. Let's see.
Huey says
it looks like it's there.
Their pad printing is better than like the standard OEM pad printing IMO. Like, I don't use this set terribly often, but like I have heavy shine on my WAS and D keys because you know how I am. But no, for those keys, like those have heavy shine on those keys, but the pad printing on those are still impeccable. I think GMK has changed their pad printing method in the past because I used to have a GMK Cyrillic set which had pad printed Cyrillic Legends. Those were pretty poor. These are better than those though, but of course, like you said, it's better than most pad printings. I'll definitely agree with that. But you're right, pad printing for a lot of people is a scary thing to hear especially when they get into it. It's kind of like it's like another scary thing. Like, you know, when a lot of new people get into the hobby, ABS becomes like their scary thing to hear about. Like, you know, like everyone's like first keyboard, like, oh, I just got like a Ducky show and show with some PBT caps because PBT is always better than ABS. And then they learn about GMK and they're like, I don't understand.
Yeah, why do people buy GMK if it's ABS? Why? But yeah, I think that's part of it. The pricing, unfortunately, is another big one. I can see how the prices scare some people, especially if you're a completionist and you want the entire thing. It's a bit angry, but I don't know. It seems like it's doing well. Like, where are I've lost my numbers. I say it's been up since, I guess, just yesterday. It seems like a long time ago. But we've already got 26 orders of Alphas kit, 10 of the white mods, 23 of the green mods, 5 of the international kit, and 24 of the space bars. So, about 24 complete kits currently, and I think that's going pretty well.
Okay.
I mean, for he's in when it's got until did I say the 11th or the 7th? Yeah, until the 7th of September is when it's running. So I don't know. I think we can get there, especially we've got proxies for it at mechboards.uk, Taobao with KP Group, and even at Z Frontier. Z Frontier actually approached me and were like, "Hey, we've got a bunch of people that would really like the set. Would we be able to act as a proxy for you, like kind of, sort of?" And I'm like, I don't see why not. I mean, getting this set to more people, there's really no real downside to that.
Yeah.
So.
Well said.
And they've actually brought in, honestly, they're the ones that brought in 20 orders, like within, I want to say 10 hours, like since I had talked to them. So there was obviously, people waiting for the set to happen. Just needed the right, not doorway, but I guess the right entryway for them to access the set from. So
definitely,
I'm hoping it'll turn out okay. I think it will, but
only time
can't let my guard down.
Wish you the best with that, Group Buy. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it does better than round 1, which, as we all know, was rough. It was rough.
But now theoretically it should do better now because it's more in demand now. Back when it ran the first time, it wasn't in demand. Nobody wanted it, and now everybody wants it. So theoretically it should do better, right? That's how that works.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think so. I think because especially where demand is a big part of it and community growth is a big part of it, because like, I guess, how many people did this have when it first ran? Like, I know that's not the only thing, but it's still a decent gauge of growth in the community. So over time it should get bigger, like should have more people join than leaving it, And so that's going to increase demand for sets over time as people are like, wow, I really want this. How come, I never see it? Well, because it's from 2 years ago. Oh, but I want it.
But I want it. Welcome to this hobby, people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things in this hobby that people want that they cannot get.
Yes. Unless you are, of course, Keyboard Man. Who is Keyboard Man? This is going to segue into our first discussion point of the evening, which is...
Our only discussion.
Our only discussion point of the evening is... Imagine, everyone, if you will, there was a wonderful superhero who could represent all of us, named Keyboard Man. What?
Huey's totally sober right now, by the way.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of superpowers do you guys think Keyboard Man would have? I'd like to think like he's like Spider-Man. He can shoot lube from his wrists, like Krytox.
Okay, so here's the thing: is he a superhero in the same sense that like Spider-Man's a superhero who like saves people and fights for good and justice and stuff, or is it like a different kind of superhero?
That's a good point. Let's say he fights for justice and stuff.
All right, so he's like the textbook superhero then. I like to think that he types so fast on air. He can just type anywhere so fast that he creates like ripples in the space-time continuum.
I like to think maybe he types like so hard that as his fingers like jut into the air, he creates like these little force bullets.
That's pretty good too. But I think he needs like
he just types aggressively at you.
Yeah. And people get really annoyed by it, so they leave. I think well, he has to use like keycaps for something, right? Like maybe
that's his emblem on his chest would just be like a keycap, right? But would it be cherry profile? Would it be like a buckling spring?
What happens when you push his keycap?
That's his weakness. That's his weakness.
Correct.
Maybe he has switches on him that he presses, and depending on the situation and what he needs to do, he presses a different key switch.
Oh, like Inspector Gadget.
That's
Yeah,
basically Inspector Gadget with key switches.
I like to think one of his arms is replaced with a giant keycap puller.
McMerlin says keyboard man cables for hair.
Yeah.
So he's got custom cables for.
He got braids for hair.
And he's got like one of those aviator cables that he just like lassos people with. Smacks them with the Model M in his other hand.
Oh man, I feel like this could be like a future Top Clack competition. Like, design us Keyboard Man.
That could be a thing. that could be a thing.
Yeah. What does Keyboard Man look like?
Oh golly, this is a silly topic.
Yeah. Next meetup cosplay as Keyboard Man. Captain Clack. I like that in chat, by the way.
That's not a bad name. Okay. Types hunt and peck style.
Devours the money in your PayPal account. Yeah.
That's a pretty good superpower. Feels like everyone has that superpower against me. Anyways, now we must do the news.
Yes.
Take it away.
And first up on the news is a group buy for GMK Eclipse running on Candy Keys, which is a European site for vendor. These keys are being placed kind of pricey, IMO, but they're using a custom color, I do believe. This is created by Tom Berry, who is the creator of GMK Yuri and GMK Carbon, which I'm sure a lot of people know about GMK Carbon. Very immensely popular set. But now he has it. He has GMK Eclipse. So the MOQ though is, because it's custom color, is 250 sets, not the typical 150 that you might see. And at that 250 MOQ, that's normally the same as a non-custom color 150 MOQ market. It's a bit different.
Yeah, so the prices are in euro here, not USD, but the base kit MOQ of 250 will be just over 113 euro, which is about 135 US dollars. So not terrible.
134.
Is that with or without VAT though?
That's a good thing, because if that price includes VAT, then
that's true.
You actually get it for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find that information, but I'm not finding it.
Because I know Europeans will have to pay that fat VAT, while us in Freedom Land will not have to pay VAT.
If you are ordering from non-EU countries, you should be getting your price without tax.
So someone has to go to the checkout page, I think, from actually...
Give me a second, I'm doing it.
Okay.
Let's see. Shopping bag. How do I get to checkout?
Shopping bag. This is America. We like shopping carts here.
So, I like the set. It's pretty nice. It's simple.
Interesting accent kit.
One thing I'm a little curious about, though, is being run by Tombury, why was the set not ran on Mastrop, which he has been favoring in the past? Why did he choose to go for an objectively, significantly lesser-known vendor distributor? Carbon and Yuri both did very well on Mastrop, so I'm very curious to know why he decided to take a new route.
I'm curious as well. Maybe we can hopefully have Tom Berry on the show to answer that himself. Yeah. But until then, speculations?
It might have something to do with recent mass drop activities, and I can't think of the right word. I'm bad at English.
Very, very, very possible. The only interesting thing would be is, you don't, as you know, Donut, you don't just like snap your fingers and start a GMK set. It takes, planning, and there's time beforehand.
It takes so much
time.
So
there's definitely time beforehand that this went on the site where he thought he maybe decided that Candy Keys was a better option for him than Mastrop.
Yeah, it sounds like what people in chat are saying. It's probably pretty time based. If he decided to run this on Mastrop, he'd probably still be behind Mastrop's GMK queue.
Very true.
Which is probably already several sets. So he would have had to wait longer to launch it.
Yeah.
So that's probably the correct answer. But
and I found out the prices on the page are including VAT.
Ooh, so
if you so if you're US based, if you're anywhere that isn't the EU, when you're in checkout it'll change, which means you just subtract 19%. 19% is GMK's VAT charge, so subtract 19%, and that's the price you'll be paying then, which, funny enough, actually cancels out roughly the current conversion from USD to Euro, because the Euro is currently about 1.18 to 1.19 USD. So go back to the page, and that's approximately the prices in USD you'll be paying, approximately. So that's not bad.
Yeah,
not bad.
135 at the 250 MOQ.
I don't know what the shipping's like, but that's still decent.
Yeah, and it's a very rich kit.
Yes.
A lot of caps on this one.
It says 113 at 250 for me. Oh, in euros. Well, yeah, because of the VAT though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
It's got a little Halloween theme to this. with the accent kit, got little pumpkins and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit odd because these are going to be shipping far past
Yeah, and
when Halloween actually is.
I think I've asked this on the show before, but I'm really curious. If you're gonna do holiday themed sets like this, is it better to launch them in that holiday season, or is it better to receive them in the holiday season?
Receive them, and I'd say one up. Even not talking about one up keyboards, but one up on top of that. If anyone out there wants to do holiday themed stuff, my advice is just whenever, anytime in the year, just run a kit that includes every major holiday. Done. Doesn't matter when it shows up. If you ship early, if you ship late, you'll always be ready. Halloween, put a pumpkin. Christmas, put a Christmas tree. Either Canadian or U.S. Thanksgiving, put a turkey. Just do that, guys, and you'll be set. You know, every holiday, it'll be like, you get free advertising every single holiday.
But, I mean, the major downside of that is you can't tailor a colorway to each holiday.
It's a custom novelty key for every holiday. Like I said, no, don't make a whole set. Just make individual keys for every. It's only like, a 12-key GMK kit.
Yeah. But, like, what I'm saying, though, is, like, for instance, if you want to run a Christmas-themed key set, I want to receive it before Christmas. I want to use it during the holiday season. It's Christmas. It's like Christmas time. It's the holidays. Let me use my set. I don't want to order it on Christmas, then receive it in, freaking, like,
in the spring.
August,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, spring or summer. It's like, where's the novelty in that?
Well, then you'll be able to use it every Christmas after that, assuming you don't flip it at some point. Big assumption.
Anyways, that's just my thought on that.
Yeah, so about 134 to 135 USD before shipping for the base kit. So
not terrible.
That's reasonable. How much base kit is there? That's a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that'll fit a bunch of things.
I know a lot. I know something that'll fit a lot of things.
Uh-oh.
What is it, Huey?
I can't say it on stream.
Oh. And here I thought you were trying to be clever with a segue.
I know. I was trying to.
That's what I thought too. I thought you were just really butchering a segue as usual.
No. But let's see. Just want to cover real quick. Just want to touch up. We got some, GMK Mass Shop has been saying some things are delayed, some things are early. Dev TTY set delayed a little bit. Yuri shipping early, and I believe Miami Dolch DSA shipping early. Don't really want to cover it too much because they're just kind of announcements, but we do want to kind of just bring it up just because Mass Shop has been kind of in the sphere of public talk and discourse quite a bit lately, with some people calling them ass drop, some people calling this just mass drama, but
all the mass drama.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, the truth is, how you feel about Mass Shop. The truth is, like, at Mass Shop as an entity, obviously, they themselves want to do better. No one purposely, wants to screw over customers, usually, or, purposely see the downfall of group buys and everything. So, despite all this, I still wish Mass Shop the best at improving what they're doing. They do provide a service. I just hope that it can get better.
What's funny is, it wasn't that long ago that Mass Drop was very efficient and very consistent, and I'm kind of curious what's happened lately to really make them as inconsistent as they have been lately.
Burnt through all that VC money.
I don't know, man. That's a topic for another time, though.
Yes, that's a deep dive article I'll be working on in the future, probably. Moving on, though, Originative on their official Geekhack subreddit has announced that they're going to be taking over Intelli78's GMK SNES. Originally, a long time ago, if you guys might not remember, it was on Mass Drop. It was that versus GMK Jazz Solo Cup, or whatever, that 90s one. Neither of them were successful. Both of them failed. But he always said, like, hey, I'm going to build hype. I'm going to bring it back. It's going to happen eventually. And I guess by happening eventually, he's going to be passing it off to Originative. So they're looking at getting a group buy price around $165. So
A little hefty.
a bit on the hefty side.
Yeah, but have you seen the kit?
It's quite the kit.
It's very nice, yeah.
Especially, I think they've got 2 different custom colors in there for the getting the purples spot on. So that's something to consider.
They did mention they are planning on cutting like about 10 to 20% of these keys to get the kit price lower and ease the production of the set, because it is, in my opinion, also quite bloated.
Yeah, let's see, 100.
A little bit, yeah.
I'd take out that purple number row from that tilde to the backspace at the end there. I take that out.
I really like the WASD novelties though.
I like the XY BA novelties on the for the open bracket, semicolon, parentheses, and slash.
That was pretty good.
Oh, people sent me those were the final cut, which is okay. That's unfortunate. I wish they'd cut even more. Snip, snip, snip. But
Yep. So 186 keys is how many is in the current kit. So
that is how it is.
Just fun fact, but that's more than Coniferous had. Coniferous only had 173.
Yep.
But I would say you've got a whole duplicate F row and num row though, which really it looks neat, but it is the easiest thing to cut as unnecessary.
But it'll be on Originative at some point. Will they do hopefully they do at least a group buy instead of bringing it straight to retail with retail pricing. But knowing Originative, it could be either one. It looks like they do plan doing a group buy. I hope so. I know in the past they've just kind of run things without doing a group buy and just being like, here it is, $20 extra, please. But I hope they stick to their word.
Yeah, surprise, we ordered something that we didn't tell anybody about.
Yes. Let's move on to Z Frontier, who is running the group buy for JTK Sun Devil, a Z Frontier exclusive for $84.50. These are some fancy renders. Look at that keyboard. Look at that side of that keyboard.
Yeah, I was about to say, I like this.
I like that keyboard. I like that's the side of the keyboard more.
The fusion on the side is insane.
I guess if you're a fan of what's this, Arizona State, probably something like that.
Arizona,
just Arizona,
in general.
The state of Arizona.
Yep.
Then you might like the set. As far as I know, this is probably the first purposely like state-oriented keycap set, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's because it's kind of silly to do a theme like that because your target audience is the people in that state.
You know what? I'm just gonna do California.
And like, there aren't enough people in the state that are like gonna be like, woo, sports team X. Let me buy this GMK key set.
Go Sun Devils.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of I think sports enthusiasts and keyboard enthusiasts. I don't think there's a whole lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Like realistically.
Not only that, like the people that are buying this set. I mean, obviously some people are gonna buy it to like the colorway, but if you're buying it for like the real theme of the set, which is like it's a sports thing, right? So like you're targeting a very very specific region because you're targeting like just a state. So why would people out of state buy this if not for the colorway?
Z Frontier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a little hand clap because you chose win keyless bottom row for your render for the TKL, and
nice.
That's the way to do it.
Style points.
But yeah, it's JTK. I mean, hopefully they've at some point decided to fix their legend inconsistencies. And many people know Brian and I have complained the C, the G, the F3.
Yeah.
The list goes on. And the thing is, their errors aren't consistent from like batch to batch. My white on my purple on white set had less inconsistencies than like my later black on white, white on black set.
Yeah.
What?
Different inconsistencies as well. So I was like, what?
I don't know,
Like,
man.
how do you do that with double shot? Do you just have really bad molds that you're using, or what?
But I mean,
Yeah,
at least
probably.
it's inexpensive. But I mean, for that price, I enjoy PBT IMO.
Yeah. This is the most expensive JTK set ever.
It is at $84.50.
JTK sets typically hang around the $60 to $70 range.
And the real kicker is, Z Frontier is cool. They give free shipping over $100. The set isn't over $100.
Yes, it's almost there. Close, but no cigar.
How funny would it be if it was like $99.99? They're like, sorry, it's not $100, no free shipping.
Yeah, I know a place that does that. Like, if it's over $6, like one of the places I get paracord, if your order is over $6, you'll get free shipping, but they sell 50-foot pieces for $5.99.
Oh, that's so brutal.
Yeah, and then the shipping itself is like really expensive if it's not free for what it is. So, but that's the trick, is just buy a bunch at once.
Yeah, I guess if you're making cables, then that's probably the better choice anyhow.
Yeah, luckily paracord is cheap, so I can buy a bunch of it at once.
Moving on, we did talk about it earlier, but let's rehash it again. You posted the group buy for round 2 of GMK Royal Alpha.
And we did already talk a little bit about that.
A little bit. Round 2, like attempt number 2.
With
it didn't...
white mods and all the green mods with the green accents, spacebar kits, some fancy weird ISO keys for those people.
That's actually something neat that I wanted to talk about. Is normally you'll notice that it's in a weird shape, which, like, with lots of gaps. Normally a international kit will have all those gaps filled in and out a little bit, because that's how many different keys you need, apparently, for all those weird layouts that I don't know what all the keys do on it. But because of the way that Royal Alpha is, where it embraces the sub-legends, I was able to compact a whole lot of them together and just get rid of a lot of unnecessary duplicate keys. So the international kit is a lot more compact than it normally would be, which I'm happy about if it does end up making it. But I don't know.
Hopefully. So we are looking for the Alpha kit of $85 at 150 MOQ. Let's see, white mods 87 at 150, green 96 at 150, international 45 at 100, and spacebar $20 at 150.
Yeah.
The EU proxy is Mech Boards UK. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, and as we were on their site earlier, Z Frontier will be the China and Asia proxy. Cool beans. So looks to be shipping priority.
Yeah. In the Con US, it's gonna be priority, because that's the cheapest you can get that it will allow you to ship, because first class stops at £1. For international, I'm actually offering 2 different things. You've got first class international, which doesn't have the £1 limit, and is the cheapest method you can get for international for a package. But the downfall is it doesn't have insurance of any kind, so it's a bit of a risk. And I'm offering priority international, which does have insurance. So I don't want to force people to take the expensive one if they really need the cheaper shipping, but at the same time, I really don't want to also force people to not take the insured method if they really want that as well. So I do talk a lot about that in the on the group buy page, and I'm like, you have choices, just know what the possibilities are for each of them. So, I like giving people choices. It's always nice to have them.
Sounds good. Yeah, so everyone check this out if you get a chance. I mean, a lot of you know Royal Alpha was a almost failed key set that has found very new resurgence in popularity and demand. Like, I get PMs about this set of like, hey, $300. I'm like, nope. Because what else would go with this sick green keyboard?
Yep.
Okay, next in the news, let's go on to our keyboard news section. And in our keyboard news section, we're going to start off with a group buy for Let's Split and cases with acrylic, wood, and aluminum options for the Let's Split. This person does have Woodpatoot's blessing to run this group buy. That is in bold, so that's the first thing I saw on the screen. But Let's Split is a pretty, I don't know, it's pretty popular, but it's
surprisingly popular.
Surprisingly popular at any rate. 40% split keyboard for all those splitters out there. Splitting. So the parts aren't too bad. 2 sets of PCB is $10 or at $8 at 40 orders. You get some Gator on switches if you'd like, but honestly, go with Kailh, guys. Gotta get your 2 Pro Micros, $12, 100 diodes, $1.50, 2 TRRS jacks for $3, and some LED strips if you want that sick underglow for $8.
I don't know. I mean, Underglow is pretty ballin'.
It is pretty ballin'.
That's horrible.
Nice little color options album for the acrylic. They're made by Jollyman, which we're really happy to hear about because I remember a few weeks back, if you watched the show, Jollyman's laser cutter actually that basically burned down and it was blah.
Yeah,
but it looks like
it went the way of the Tibetan monks.
Yeah. But this is when I was reading this week. I'm like, what? He's back at work again? Awesome! So shout out to Jollyman for getting back on your feet and helping out in this community. Really awesome. A lot of good color samples. And all of them are pretty transparent. So any kind of RGB LEDs you get will have a nice effect through them, I think. Got some nice anodized aluminum samples. Wonder how they will end up turning out.
Actually, the aluminum case looks kind of neat with that brass plate. Even though it is low profile.
Yeah, I like the cutout for that design. Plate. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really neat.
With those gentle edges too.
Yeah, I really dig that.
Even supports switch top removal, so that's always nice.
Not with those Kailh switches.
Not with those switches that we see on.
Oh, are those the ones that have the
the tabs in the side?
Yep.
You can't win.
Oh man,
there's no winning.
Yeah. At least they feel good to type on.
I've heard that.
So he does have a little weight demonstration here, where both of the sides of the aluminum case with brass plates are 2 pounds 11 ounces, so a little over 2.5 pounds. Not too bad.
Hefty.
Not too bad for what it is.
Assembly is only going to be $40, which I think a lot of people might want to really consider, considering the fact that soldering the diodes, the Pro Micros, and the TRRS jacks might
and
the LED strips if you're about that, kind of might be a pain in the ass if you're only used to through-hole soldering, which is the majority of the people who've learned soldering for a keyboard. You with those skills, that's enough to do all of those as well. Don't get me wrong. It can be a pain in the ass, is what I'm saying. So it's not a bad option. I'm happy that they do include an option like that for the less technically minded individuals, or for the people who can't solder to begin with. It works well.
Yeah. One thing I like about group buys like this is there are a lot of options, but there's also a really wide price range.
Yes.
So like if you're on a budget, you can get that standard acrylic sandwich case for only $25. plus a little bit more for your PCB and all that stuff. Or you can go balls to the wall and get this aluminum and brass hybrid.
118.
And it's quite a bit more, but it's it's a budget for everyone. I like that. I like when everyone can get options.
Definitely. So time is ticking, everyone. This will be ending tomorrow, actually. So if you're watching our VOD like through the weekend, sorry, this might already be over. This will probably already be over. But if you're gonna be catching the VOD right after or early tomorrow, and this is something that interests you that you haven't seen yet, check it out. This is probably, in my opinion, so far the best group buy for the Let's Split there has been.
I agree with that.
And moving on, next is, usually we don't cover things like this. I just thought it was a bit interesting. On mechanicalkeyboards.com, the Vortex Vibe. Vortex is like getting into like the game. First at 40%, now like a 96 almost-ish percent because they're missing the F row.
60% plus numpad.
6% numpad, whatever.
Oh,
High Pro Keycaps, die subbed PBT. High Pro. Or SA, whatever you want to call these. Interesting. It's like what's in demand right now? Kind of high, super high profile SA kind of keycaps.
Apparently low profile cases.
Low profile cases. All the kids are out that low profile cases, and this layout, and all these boardroom executives jumped up and down in joy. We got another poke on our hands, boys.
Yeah, I mean, being totally honest, the housing for this keyboard is about as boring as it gets.
Yes.
It's
not
incredibly
boring.
small,
It's
thin, and low profile, and there's no design to it.
subtle. Subtle is the word.
No. But I am the master of boring. I know all about boring and simple. This is when it's not good. This is the bad boring.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing going on here. Like there's no design. It looks. I mean, there's only one picture, so it's a little bit hard to tell, but it looks like a completely flat case. It probably has like some little feet, and then yeah, like it's low profile. There's nothing going on. No real design work at all.
I am happy though that they went with a full numpad instead of like making that short shift in that arrow cluster, because you have arrow keys built into a numpad. If anyone's ever used like a numpad like normally, there are sub legends on your numpad for the 8, 4, 6, and 2 that are your arrow keys. What do you know? And if you turn numlock off, those will be arrow keys. Crazy.
Not focusing at all.
So like sometimes, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it works for arrow keys just fine. So people who build 96 keys, usually I'd recommend doing this kind of layout with a full shift. But
yeah, but normal size right shift is just so big. Like it's the biggest key on the keyboard.
It's the most American key on the keyboard.
Yeah, that would be big ass enter. Like it has no right to be there, but it doesn't care.
So really, the shining qualities of this keyboard are the kind of different layout. This is obvious for the people that like 60%, but also need a numpad. And that despite our potential hate of SA, they are fairly nice looking caps. Die sub PBT, obviously, pretty good choice, pretty good route. $149 with free shipping in the U.S. Estimated arrival is November 16th, so it is pre-order only at the moment.
One thing real quick about the keycaps. So the keycaps are obviously granite inspired, just like with their core, the 40%. So that's why they have that the red escape and red numpad enter. But like you look at those bluish enter and that purple spacebar, and you might think like, did they take notes off of Muted? Did someone at Vortex? Did someone Vortex like?
I was thinking Quartz actually.
Or Quartz, yeah. Like so someone might have been taking notes somewhere.
Yeah, and it is die sub PVT, so that's pretty nifty for all the people that are afraid of ABS. Or not afraid, wary of ABS. That's the more polite word.
Yeah, it looks like it is only available in Cherry MX switches, but it covers just about all of them that you could want, including silent reds, silent blacks, and silvers. So you got Got a lot of Switch variety there if you're a Cherry MX kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Always nice to see the new silent switches on keyboards.
No, I've
And
built.
a lot of the models are $10 cheaper too, depending on the Switch choice you have.
Yes, on screen is probably one of the more expensive ones because it is Cherry MX clears.
Yep.
Okay, let's move over to our wonderful sponsors at Input Club, who have now the Nightfox mechanical keyboard and the Whitefox mechanical keyboard available for a pre-order waitlist. Really cool. So, fun fact, everyone. Last weekend, those of you in the Discord might have known, I went to the Bay Area to check out the meetup venue on the 11th. But since I was also in the Bay Area, I also checked out Input Club's headquarters in a super secret exclusive Top Clack tour. Where if you were there or in our Discord, you might know that I actually did get Haata to do a force graph of Holy Panda, which, funny fact, when he asked about the manufacturer, I didn't like Top Clack. He's like, okay, so Top Clack is the manufacturer for Holy Pandas, folks.
It's official.
It's official.
That's terrible.
We'll have the link for that up in a bit, but let's talk about this Whitefox and Nightfox. Originally came out on Mass Drop, the original version, way back when Input Club and Mass Drop were friendlier. Is a better word to use. The Nightfox is a new one by them in a nice black color I've seen. I forgot because they had two reds they were working on. This one that they took pictures of might be the new updated red that they'll be using. A lot of people liked the Whitefox, but wanted an edgier look to it. And
that's me. I really like the look of the Nightfox.
Yeah,
it does look nice. It's very clean.
Even those stock caps look a lot better. I like them a lot better than the Whitefox ones.
So do I. So actually, when I was there, I was with them and we swapped the reds and blues of the Nightfox and Whitefox. The reds work really well in the Whitefox, but those blues don't really work too well in this Nightfox. But they will be selling those accents individually in the far future, I do believe, if anyone does like that mix and match. It's going to be USB Type-C for those who are ready to embrace the future.
Future!
Okay.
Yes. And then for their waitlist, I believe you will have their standard choices of Kailh switches, as well as the two new switches that they're working on, which we'll have to wait and find out. I know they made an announcement a little while back, is basically because of, lawyer stuff. They can't, unfortunately, say what's what about any of those switches until it's basically ready.
Yep. The only thing that we basically know right now is that there are new and improved Halo switches coming. Whether they'll be called Halos or not is to be decided.
They will not be called Halos.
All right. Well,
I can confirm that for sure.
They'll be the Hola switches.
What's the opposite of a Halo?
A devil or demon horns or.
Hola.
I actually
Please call these demon horns.
I was actually because I was thinking of that like last week in the Input Club Discord, and I was like, how about horny switches? And they're like, no.
Oh.
Okay, so those who might not know background, Andrew, CEO of Input Club, great guy. We've had him on the show twice. He loves sandwiches. He is a sandwich fanatic, and because they are Input Club, I was like, how about club switches and have the different flavors be different club sandwiches for the switches?
Oh, I could.
Unfortunately, he couldn't swing that by the rest of the team. I'm like, come on, man, you're CEO. Like, can't you just massage some CEO magic into that?
I am the Senate.
Yeah, exactly. He does kind of give off that Palpatine-esque vibe. Just kidding. We love you.
But yeah. So by the way, everyone, as you might know, Input Club is our official sponsor, and we do really want to thank them and love them for their support of Top Clack. Speaking of Top Clack and them supporting us, they're also running our T-shirts, which we'll have a link for, if not now, in the very near future, near the end of the show.
We'll get there. Yeah. So, anyways, getting back to this Whitefox real quick, so we can wrap up this topic. Looks like your switch options are going to be Kailh Blue, which is interesting. You'll have Cherry MX Clear, which is the only Cherry MX switch in this lineup. Then you have the Speed Coppers, Speed Bronze, and Speed Silver from Kailh. And then the Halo options are there, but they are grayed out, so that'll probably be replaced with their new upcoming switch or switches.
Switches confirmed.
Switches. Okay.
Probably. I mean, yeah, they've said publicly that they will make replacements for both the trues and the clears.
Very, very cool. Man, that's kind of a bummer because I really like the name Halo True. Like, to me, that was just like,
yeah. Wow.
That's epic because it's not just like, the brand name and then like a color. Like it was beyond that. It was
beyond,
true,
above.
It was true, man.
True to you.
Anyways, get a Whitefox, get a Nightfox.
No, hell, get both.
One thing I did notice here is so for under the Nightfox page, the Halo True was the only option.
Yeah, they're still fixing that stuff up.
Okay,
I do believe.
Okay, yeah, cool. So I imagine that you'll have the same choices between the Nightfox and the Whitefox of switches, hopefully, at least.
It would make sense that you would, but
yeah, you'd think.
You never know.
Yeah, I was checking out some of their prototypes at their lab. Pretty interesting. I was talking to them about a lot. Jacob was telling me about 10-minute little thing about finding the right screws to use, because I was using one of their prototypes and it sounded really weird, and I couldn't pin on why it sounded weird. And he told me because the screws were the wrong diameter and the wrong length, and it was creating a really weird resonance effect across the whole keyboard. And he was surprised I picked up on it because I just held in my ear and I was pushing it for like 2 minutes straight.
The things we do for keyboards, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Whitefox is available for $169. Nightfox is $189, so $20 more. Not a bad price. The thing about the Whitefox that I like is it's kind of like that like entryway into like more custom keyboards, because it's not your $400 or $500 custom kit, but it's better than your $100 OEM keyboards.
Definitely.
It is a very solid stepping stone. Like, It's a stepping stone that you can stand on for a little bit without worrying about falling off it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's at a price that most people in this hobby can afford.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of a price most people in this hobby can't afford, that KVD fans 19X 90% keyboard going for a whopping $280. That's with the brass plate. With the stainless steel plate, that is actually the same price. Okay, so brass really is the only option to go, guys.
No. I mean, if you like stainless steel plates more.
Yeah.
So they more
depends
more
on what
details.
you're gonna put on it.
So
stainless steel, it's a little bit different of a feel and sound.
yeah. So before the show, I was talking here, and I was like, guys, look at how awesome and chunky that bottom weight is. That's amazing, isn't it? And Brian's like, it's aluminum though, and we're just like, but why, KBD fans? But why? Look how big chunk of metal that could have been. Even if they just made it stainless steel, that would have added so much. But like, there's no point in having a weight that's the same material as the rest. Why?
I really struggle to see the purpose in this choice of aluminum weight. It's not adding any additional weight. Like, it's just, if that were just case instead of quote unquote weight, it would have weighed the same, if not more.
Someone get Mech Merlin to finish up his Duck Blackbird brass group buy, and then the Duck Viper brass group buy to get on a KVD 19X brass group buy.
Because this is still gonna sell.
Yeah.
Like, people are still gonna buy this.
I'd consider it even, this board.
It looks pretty
No, it's
nice.
a good looking board. Everything else, like, that's my honestly, that's like my only complaint about this board.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think what might have happened is, I'm not sure, but like, they see all these other designs that they always have the weight in the bottom. So they understand that that's something that people like, but they didn't really, whoever designed it didn't follow through on why that's done.
You know, actually, I think the designer did understand, hence how it mounts on the bottom. But I think once it reached like their finance team of how much that big chunk of metal would be in not aluminum, they're like,
yeah, because that's a solid.
Is stainless steel that much more expensive than aluminum?
No.
I was under the impression it's really not.
It's not. It shouldn't be. It should be about the pretty equal.
Yeah, I think it's relatively similar.
I mean,
it's like a solid. That's like 16 units wide.
There are no reasons to not use stainless steel here.
Yes. I mean, some people in chat are saying like, but you can get different colored weights. But there's no option for that when you choose case. You choose the case color. So everything's going to be that color that you order, unless you're going to be ordering two or swapping around with other people.
Actually, I think they say random weight colors. The aluminum weight has a random color.
Wow! What a monumental failure!
Yeah.
That is so bad. That should never be a thing. You should always be able to decide what color you want.
Yeah.
When you're paying $300 for a keyboard.
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a salmon-colored aluminum weight, and it's like, wow, that's
and they
ugly.
Do they even tell you what the weight colors are?
I would assume they're the same options as the case itself.
Yes, I assume so.
But you got to be careful assuming, because you never know.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. That is bad.
It's a bit
really
weird.
Bad. You don't pay $300 for a keyboard and hope you win the lottery on the color of your weight that doesn't improve the weight of your keyboard. So
someone did mention that was a translation issue, and you should be able to choose, but I still don't see where you choose aside from it'll be the same color.
Yeah, which is also pretty bad. You should have a choice of different weight there.
Yes.
If you're because that's, even though it's kind of a stupid reason, that would be the only reason to get an aluminum weight for an aluminum keyboard. Is just for the color matching aesthetic, whether you want to match it or contrast it.
Prime example, for better or worse, E8 V6 with the top, middle, bottom pieces. You can get completely all three different colors if you wanted to, or you can get top and bottom the same, and middle as an accent, or flip that around. Yeah.
And the weight and the nameplate on that. So and the plate. There were 6 different things that could all be different colors on the E8 V or the E6 V2.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from those issues, I mean, this is still a decent keyboard. I mean, it's like
hopefully that's just a translation issue and that gets figured out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's a pretty big failure.
So let's move on to an interesting interest check. The Southpaw Alps+MX. It is a 65% with a numpad on the left side, supporting both Alps and MX switches. Yay. There's a nice little album I have up. I will move to center my screen.
Yeah, that's pretty not bad.
Yeah. Aluminum case. Does have external feet, not a single thing, but I mean, it's a start.
It's unfortunate, but the feet are kind of nice though. At least it's not just the normal little cylindrical aluminum ones that you see. They're actually full feet. I dig it.
That's the one thing that bothers me on case designs is when the cutout for the USB actually extends down underneath the case instead of just being a port in the side.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It might just be because this is a prototype and that's the cheaper way to do it, but it just you just have the port just kind of hanging out of the bottom, and that bugs me. That's one of the things that bugs me, but
yeah,
that might just be because, like I said, prototype, and it's a lot cheaper just to have something go in and cut it than it is to have a separate machine go from the side to do it. Maybe.
But yeah, there's an interest check form on this thread. I highly recommend people check out if they get the chance. I think it's a pretty cool project. I've been a big, even though I don't own one yet, I've been an advocate of like, if you need a numpad, you need mouse space, get an external one put on your left side, or get a keyboard that has your numpad on your left side. It's not that hard to relearn your muscle memory to do a numpad with your left hand. Trust.
Yeah, as a left-hander, I really approve of this, and especially like Huey just said. One of the big reasons I use 60% is because I like having all that extra mouse space when I game.
All that McCree action.
Exactly. Like it's not minor actions. Like sometimes I'm throwing my mouse basically, and like you need space for that. You can't do that with a full-size keyboard. You can't even really do that with a TKL, in my opinion. Like it gets too awkward.
You have to have a good desk space to do it with a TKL.
You have to have a good desk space. So I mean, aesthetics aside, I do like 60% better, obviously. But I like the idea of having that be on the left side.
But yeah, so this is an interest check. For an interest check, it's great they have prototype. It's not just like, here's a render, give me money. It's like, I've put money in to prototype this. I have a physical working, assumingly it works, working one in front of me to show you guys.
It looks fine. Not the most beautiful keyboard I've ever seen, but it looks good enough.
Yes.
It's simple.
What's the price on this? I didn't actually see that.
I don't know. I didn't see one either.
I'm gonna look one more time.
Okay, you look one more time. I'm gonna load up the next topic arena, which is, depending on how I can find that price.
Right. So it says $100 to $200 for kits, depending on case. So it looks like there's probably going to be a low profile version.
In the album there was a bent metal case version as well.
Yeah, bent steel.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, which is, it has that open bottom and it is a low profile case. So maybe that's the cheaper.
They also had an acrylic option for an acrylic bottom as well. I saw.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
All right.
Moving on to. We talked about Let's Split earlier. Let's talk about Let's Split again. Someone is doing an interest check, working on a Let's Split 40% that uses the new fancy Kailh PCB Hotswap Sockets. Fancy, very fancy. I mean, one of the major drawbacks of the Kailh Hotswap Sockets is you can only have, that profile. I mean, that layout. But for the Let's Split, there's really only one layout to go with anyways. So it works out perfectly for a keyboard like this. I know a lot of people who have used those, including Haata of Input Club has said they are really good and they're better than using like whole tights, which don't have the durability people would truly need if they're going to be swapping out switches a lot. So hopefully it works out. I mean,
yeah.
I want to try. I mean, I've been talking to an individual about making a top clack 60% PCB with Kailh Hotswaps, but
we're not talking anymore about that right now.
But that's all we're gonna say. That's the ultimate tease I'll give.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate tease.
One thing that is mentioned is that the switches underneath the Pro Micros had to be rotated in order to fit the sockets in there.
Yes.
But somebody had brought it up that not all switches will have the stem perfectly, rotatable to where it'll match up with keycaps. So they said you might end up with some issues doing that.
That is quite unfortunate.
And I guess that will bring up the price of the PCB probably noticeably, because that's a lot more SMD components that have to go on there.
Yes,
that's what,
Kailh Hotswap
2 more per switch.
Yes.
At that rate, you'd almost be fine going with justifying the cost of the SMD diodes. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to do the sockets anyway. But I don't know.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, that's a lot more SMD stuff, because the normal Let's Split doesn't have anything SMD, does it? Like it's all normally through-hole.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's gonna... That might be a bit more of a price jump.
It's going to be very interesting. But we'll see. It's an interest check. I know this person is ordering like 10 prototypes, only keeping 2, hoping to sell the other 8 for people who are willing to try it out. So if you are one of those splitters who love your Let's Split, maybe you should consider this. Is this something you want to consider in terms of hot swap ability?
Yeah, obviously these Kailh sockets are still very, very young in the community, very, very new still, and we haven't really seen it in any implications or implementation. Sorry. So this is kind of a pretty early thing. So maybe we'll find better alternatives, like ways to use that in the future, because it'd be cool to have the sockets and still be able to use different layouts that you want instead of just the only layout that you're allowed to because of the sockets.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be some kind of solution to that in the near future, hopefully.
Okay. Moving on, the Kira60 Raffle is tomorrow. We covered this last week about this case. Plate is ANSI only, switch top removable with a brass plate. $250 for the case, brass weight, and aluminum plate. 8-degree angle, supports varied bottom rows. Polycarb plate is available as well. There's an official countdown timer. It's starting in 10 hours, 16 minutes, and 40 seconds, and it's gonna be pretty limited. Pretty
Wait
limited.
a second. Oh, okay. I see.
Payment deadline is 48 hours.
Pretty tight windows on everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. PayPal fees are separate.
Yes, which is going to be quite a bit considering the fact we got $250 for one set. And you got some extras if you want to add brass, polycarb, or additional aluminum plate. Then you got PayPal fees like you mentioned, and if you're in the U.S. like we are, shipping is $27 dollarinos.
That's not awful. That's pretty reasonable for international shipping of something that weighs almost 2 kilograms.
This is actually some of the better international shipping I've ever seen on a custom keyboard.
Yeah, but they definitely did well. Group was going to be limited to 25 keyboards. 25.
Very, very limited.
So how many minutes do you guys think it will sell out in? 1 minute? 3 minutes?
I think it'll take 5 to 10.
Yeah. That's oh wow, that's the inside of the weight. Like you look on the backside and it's just, I guess stars, like a big star and then 3 little stars. It's like, oh, that's a neat design, and then you look at the rest of the weight and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot on the inside.
Hunk brass.
I really like that weight.
Yeah, it's a cool weight. Cool weight.
Got some nice angles on that case.
Yeah, but it is a deadline for the raffle entry. Ends at 12 a.m. on 13 October 2017, which has that passed yet? Oh, I guess it has passed, huh? That's Singapore time.
I just realized there's no option for the PCB, which is kind of interesting. Usually you see an option for a PCB.
Yes.
In some fashion. Beautiful board nonetheless.
Oh, it's already over. Because I misread my time. Yeah, it's Singapore time. 13th Singapore time. So the raffle already happened. Too late, guys. It's a cool board, though.
Rip.
Wow,
rip.
We tried.
Why are we even talking about this?
I don't know. But know what we should talk about next? Actually, it's going to be really short. But just a small little heads up to everyone. You should check out Clueboard's website tomorrow. I can't say what for. All I can say is I highly recommend checking out their website tomorrow. There might be something on their website tomorrow that both surprises you and pleases you. It'll make you all tingly inside.
Oh, interesting. I don't even know about this.
Moving on in other news, like I mentioned earlier, Top Clack Science with the man Haata. So I went over to Impa Club's lab over the weekend. I don't want to log into Plotly, but we had a force curve taken of the Holy Panda that Brian and I love so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Those of you that are
pretty
unfamiliar with what a Holy Panda is, it's a inver panda housing using a stem from a Halo switch. Holy Panda is just a silly name that we decided to give it, just to have it be called something aside from saying what it really is.
And it stands out. It's, you say what it is and people will be like, oh, I know what that is.
Huey and I both really, really, really like them. For me, it's the only MX tactile switch that I want to use. By far, period. I don't care about any of the other ones. And I'm using mine right now. I'm pretty sure Huey's using his, and I look for extra reasons to type because I like it so much.
It's a great switch. Very great switch.
Yes, so that's what a Holy Panda is. There's the force curve.
Force curve. Check out Haata's other force curves. I mean, from this link, you can check out all his other force curves. There's so many switches he's done force curves under. He is like all science when it comes to switches. For those of you who might not know, he has his own force curve machine. Hence, I saw it I should post a picture one of these days of the machine, of like him testing the Holy Panda. But like, for those who don't know, when he designs switches, he does it based off of science. He doesn't say like, I want the bump to be bigger, because that's too vague for him. No. He finds
reverse engineering.
He finds 10 switches he likes. He puts them in the machine, and he figures what do these 10 switches have in common that I like in their graphs. Then he extrapolates that information. He sends that to the manufacturer. Make a switch that will follow this graph. They make one. They send it to him. He tests it. You're wrong, he tells them. He tells them to make it again.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he as people say, he sciences the shit out of keyboards.
Yeah, I believe it.
So check that stuff out. Let's move on next to a group buy, to a fun little thing that we all liked and talked about last episode, which is the PCB Ruler. The group buy is live. It's a great stocking stuffer, as Brian mentioned. It's a great little gift to give if you have someone special in your life who needs to measure the length of their space bar.
You know people are going to be using this to for other things.
But it's here. If it's green, it's $5. If it's glossy black with silver pad, $6, and if it's a matte black special edition with gold on it, it is $10 for your
bling version.
Bling
version. I might have bought one of the special edition.
I have not bought
I've not bought
I
any
actually
of them
bought one of each of them because they're cool.
They are very cool.
They are very cool.
And I know Chris, so it's good to support him.
I mean, I'm probably gonna get one, to be honest, because
why not?
It's neat.
It's cheap. It's cheap, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's a novelty item.
I mean, you can solder a microcontroller on this, and you can like make this as a working object. I think is there a header for USB? Yes. Yeah, there is at the edge, so you can have your own little mini USB out and plug it into stuff. The diode bender is really cool if you do a lot of hand wiring for that diode action.
Oh yeah,
and it supports.
I don't actually know how that works.
It supports Kailh low profile. Very rare for PCBs these days at the moment.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, check this out if you guys get a chance. Would recommend. It's just a really cool, small little novelty kind of thing that we have going on. Moving on is a small little thing. Usually, Brian and I aren't super big into artisans, but there's been some beef lately between the community and JellyKeys with things not shipping out, things shipping late, keycaps getting damaged. So if this is something you're about, you should definitely read what they say about it. They do seem like they want to be good for the community. I'm not really big on following this kind of stuff, but if you are, you should follow it. You should keep in mind, because I know Top Clack, we mainly cover custom keyboards, keycap sets, that kind of thing. We don't really delve deep into the artisan game because you could have a whole show. You could have a whole show similar to Top Clack just on artisans. That's the truth.
There is one even.
Yeah, there is one. The Capcast, exactly. They're a whole show. I mean, they probably have a better understanding of this whole situation. But this is something that was big enough to pop up on my page of looking through the news. So check it out when you get a chance. Just artisans. It's quite the endeavor.
Yep.
Yeah,
now,
they are.
Let's touch up again. You mentioned a little earlier. You're running metal braid cable group buy.
Yep, metal braid cables, which they are it is, let's see, this is going to be awful trying to get this.
It's actually metal, guys.
Actually
this
metal?
Is literally metal. Like, it's like, you think it wouldn't be flexible either, but look at, ow, that actually hurts a little bit. But, I mean, it doesn't hold coils very well because it's metal, it's not going to, but it is still really flexible, really metal. Like, it's kind of crazy almost.
So it's really interesting
when you think about it.
Yeah, it's really crazy and really interesting because I know. I'm sorry to interrupt you, by the way, but I know Brian mentioned earlier when you were talking about your current run for GMK Royal Alpha R2. You've done your donut. You're doing your donut 81 still, and Brian mentioned a lot of vendors start with cables and kind of branch out. I kind of see it as you started with cables, and now you're going to the cable end game. You took cables along with you with the ride.
Yeah, I want to see what I can do more than just cables, because cables are neat, but it'd be neat to make them more.
More premium cable, really. I've told Donut this, the way I see these cables and why I really love these cables is a lot of people, most everyone who gets in the community starts with an aluminum board, whether it's a Razor Black Widow, whether it's a Poker 2, whether it's a Magic Force. You're mostly just on aluminum. I mean, on plastic for everything. Starting out, even your second or third keyboard still might be a plastic OEM board, like a Cooler Master, right? And then you eventually get into keyboards. You get your PBT keycap set because people scare you about ABS, and then
you go buy a Whitefox from
you can avoid that. You can buy a Whitefox from Kono, and then you know what? People start getting the paracord cables because they want to customize a cable that goes with what I have. I want a cooler cable than this POS rubber kind of thing that just kind of will disintegrate after prolonged use. So they get paracord cable, but I feel like there's a lot of people in the community who don't know yet, but once they see these, they realize this is kind of like the next step forward for premium. Because when you get deep into the custom game, it's all about it's expensive, but pushing what we can do, pushing brass weights, brass plates. Those things weren't prevalent in the community even a year ago, as much as they are today, 2 years ago. And cables have kind of been very stagnant. And for me, this is like a metal cable. This is like upgrading from a plastic case to an aluminum case.
Yeah, it's, the next step up. And, paracord cables, you have a whole lot of customizability. You have so many options with it. But at the same, then with this, you don't have as many options, but I think it's you go less for variety and more for, you don't need variety to make it cool so much. It is what it is makes it cool. So I think that's the step up to this. And as someone was asking, are these actually metal? Yeah, these are, if I, you can, well, you can't see that because my webcam is awful. You can see that is actually copper right there. Each of these is 100%, the braiding itself is 100% the material that it is. This is stainless steel, this is brass, and this is copper. And it is, they're a little, definitely weightier than paracord cables, but, I mean, heft. It feels like value. It's like an aluminum case. You're
that's right. Yeah,
that feels good.
A lot of people in this community attribute weight to premium.
anywhere. Yeah, and this, it's like, feels hefty.
Brian, you have a very premium body.
You're damn right I do. I'm accustomed.
Oh, yeah, you're the next step up.
I cost a lot to ship. All right, moving on.
But real quick, these are $19 for all the options, right?
Yeah, each of them's 19 a piece, and that's for a 3-foot cable of either, basically whatever USB connectors you want. USB A, USB B, the big clunky square one that I kind of like. It's neat, and then USB micro and USB mini. There's no USB-C currently, but future. That is something I'm looking into. It's working on it.
Awesome. Moving on, I just chose one of these posts of the 3 or 4 that have been posted, but we did talk a little bit about mass drama earlier. Unfortunately, I actually do really feel for the European people who are being hit with this, because they paid for $240 for a keyboard, and they have to pay the import fees on top of that. And when they open a box that's supposedly containing $240 worth of keyboard components, they receive somehow not a bag of switches, but a single switch.
Single switch in a tiny little baggie that even has a sticker on it. And I guess I was going to say fun fact, but this isn't actually all that fun. What this is like technically by Massdrop actually labeling these packages by putting on the customs information that is the value of the item inside, that is actually mail fraud and could potentially lead to some actual legal issues if they don't do anything about it. So that could be something to watch out for.
Yes.
I'm really curious how this situation even happens ever.
It's a hard thing to think about in the fact.
How does the package, like the handling and distribution for Massdrop, package up a single switch, which they don't even sell? They've never ran a group buy ever for just one switch. Ever.
Yeah, so
like why would you ever just package one switch and send it out? I don't understand.
Yeah, that is some really severe miscommunication going on with, I guess, their warehouse. I was going to say their packaging department, but it's actually a separate like building and whatnot. But that is some really severe miscommunication, and it also makes you wonder why, like you said, why would the people doing the packaging think, hey, let's put a single switch in a baggie and put it in a box, fill the box, a big reasonably sized box, keyboard sized box, with packing materials and slap a sticker on it for
a declared value of $240.
Like, that's
really, really mind-boggling. I really want to meet the guy who's like, this is right.
And these are the same people that managed to misship, Godspeed as well.
Double shipping.
It makes you really wonder what's going on with their communication with their warehouse and what really they should be doing about it to try and keep it from happening again, because it seems like there hasn't been any difference, any change so far between when all the Godspeed stuff happened and when this is happening. It's still going on with no change.
There's some kind of break in communication there.
Yeah.
That is it's like someone's playing like a trick on everyone.
Hopefully they resolve it. Honestly, like I hope like everyone who's ordered from Massdrop will eventually in a quick manner get what they ordered properly and get all their issues resolved, because I mean, even though we can laugh and hate on Massdrop, like I feel for that guy who just got a single Telio. Like,
that's just
he's in Europe. Like, even if
Yeah.
Here, we have your stuff, but we're gonna give you one of them, and that's just what it feels like.
243 more pieces. Collect them all.
Yeah.
Have you submitted enough box tops yet for your next prize?
Box tops.
Are box tops still a thing?
I don't know.
I'm not a kid anymore, so I don't know. Does anyone in chat have kids who might know whether or not box tops are still a thing? Let us know if they are.
They might be, but like I said, I haven't. You don't think about it, and it's like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay, but rounding off the news, Brian wrote a great article, in my opinion. Absolutely great, fantastic article. Brian, want to give us a little DW on this article? But even though I do recommend everyone read this article in its full entirety. I know it's a lot of blocks of text, but it's great blocks of text.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, this was kind of just my thoughts on not necessarily my entire thoughts on linear switches, but my thoughts on how they're as far as the enthusiast community goes, they're kind of a backseat to tactile and clicky switches, which are statistically much more popular. So it's kind of just the way I view linears and what I think they're able to offer that other things cannot. And yeah, just a lot of information like that. We did post this on Reddit, and it actually went really well. A lot of people really liked this article. There was lots of not only support, but lots of like really awesome conversation in the Reddit post. So you should definitely check that out too, because it was really cool. Really cool.
To everyone who, like, wow. Yeah, it was really good. Really good responses, Brent. For everyone who did read it and did like respond and comment and create discussions in the post, thank you. I mean, that's what we really hope to generate with articles like this. We want to definitely stroke your thoughts and make you think about these things.
Stroke it.
Stroke. But now that we're here on the Top Clack website, everyone, if you got a chance, check out Top Clack website, topclack.com. It's a pretty cool website. Sometimes we'll do things on this website. Sometimes. I'm just gonna copy and paste just a whole slew of our spam stuff. Where's Twitch? Here's Twitch. We got T-shirts. We got an official Discord if you ever want to talk and hang out with us. We got audio on Podbean only. That's just really badly formatted copy and paste, but
really
whatever.
Bad. We'll get better at that.
Yeah, we have a Patreon, which we're gonna have Patreon awards coming soon. TM, but it's actually soon. Promise. Soon. So I guess with that, we're gonna start the Q&A. Yay.
Yes.
As we start the Q&A, man, we've already asked you our normal question, Brian. We need a new question for like follow-up guests now.
Yeah, you need more questions, secondary questions. I guess like what? Let's see. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I got nothing. French toast or crepes?
There we go.
Let's French toast or crepes. Ooh.
Maybe that's
I haven't had French toast in a long time. But last I remember, it was pretty good. But crepes are really versatile. So you got lots of options there. I'm gonna go crepes. Crepes. I don't know. I'm not bad at English a little bit.
How do you like your crepes?
I mean,
are you more of a
with fruit?
Kind of guy,
I'm definitely with a, fruit and a little bit of whipped cream on top.
Okay, very classic.
Yeah, very classic.
Simple.
All right, couple questions rolling in.
Oh boy.
One for you, Donut. Do you think the brass metal cable will patina?
I mean, I don't see any reason it shouldn't. It is. Let me look at this because I've had this one for a while. It should. I mean, it's bare metal as far as I know. It isn't sealed at all, so it would naturally over the time. I don't know how much brass actually oxidizes, but it definitely could, especially if you do any sort of artificial patina on it, artificial oxidation, like I know is popular with copper. Like you could definitely do that to see what you get. So definitely possible.
A lot of people really like that patina look.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat. All the other questions that are coming in are just like what we should replace waffles and pancakes with. And most of them are pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm keeping up with it.
Avid user says, question, it's the last week of the LZ CLSM closes this Sunday. Order form is down, but you can PM for order. So not really a question, but more of an announcement. LZ CLSM is still open. Closes Sunday. There you go.
A lot of letters.
Yes.
But it's LZ, so I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No question. No other questions.
Really?
Yet.
We have another question. I thought we had other questions.
Well, we had things that weren't really questions.
Let's see.
Recommended Switch opener. Tweezers, or if you're willing to pay $5 and you live in the US where you can get cheap shipping from mechanicalkeyboards.com, they have Switch shop openers out of stainless steel.
Yeah,
if not,
those are nice.
And you have like an iFixit kit or something similar. I have like a cheap knockoff one right now. Just use tweezers, man. I use tweezers, open them from the bottom.
Sorry, go ahead. No, but I like the. I actually use a single one of the mechanicalkeyboards.com openers, like just one, and I've actually, when you get them, the ends are actually rounded over so that you can't cut or stab yourself on them, which is boring, like the flat parts. But I actually sand them down a little bit just so they'll have a little bit better of a time getting into the switch. And I use a giant modding tray, which I posted pictures of before. And I just go one at a time, use it, put it on the far side, and pull it towards myself, and it pulls the top right off without needing a second one.
Yeah,
but
so
I might also be brute forcing it a little bit. I do that sometimes.
Just like most things in life, if it's more dangerous, it's a better idea.
Certainly more fun. Let's see.
Cursor TN says, I'm late for the stream, sorry. Donut, I loved Coniferous. Any other sets on the way that you can tease?
That I can tease. That is a really good question. I guess I've got the ones that I do. Like, I don't have any right now that I'm for sure working on, like personally, but I am going to be, when it occurs, the group buy runner for GMK Ubuntu, which I think you guys showed off a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm working with Kim, the set designer, to do that, but that's going to be more of a slow progress thing. And I'm also, this is hopefully happening soonish, going to be running the group buy for GMK Forge, which I think you also might have had on a long time ago. But it was a red on black set, kind of like JTK Bread, but with a bit more of a theme going to it. So that's coming up. No set designs right now that I'm working on because kind of busy managing stuff, but I'll definitely be trying to push more stuff. I'd eventually like to do a Coniferous round 2 because it's funny, at first, like, we had trouble hitting MOQ, and then after it came out, everybody's like, wow, this is really great. I'm sorry, I missed it. And it's just like, okay, we'll try again next time. Like, I would like to do a round 2 of it, but that won't be happening for a while. Yeah, I'd like to wait until next year at least. I don't want to rush it too much because I feel like rushing into things doesn't usually work out well sometimes, most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Dixie Mech asks, why do you think it's so hard for community-run GBs to get the numbers of mass drop? Just marketing? Money? It's all...
I think part of it, it's funny because you would think it would be marketing, but then you look, Massdrop doesn't actually do a whole lot of viral marketing. When you look around, they don't, advertise places. It's all just emails to people that are already subscribed to it. And I think that's a lot of it, is they have, basically at this point, they've amassed such a large user base that they are able to basically just use that user base to get their numbers up. And I think they do. You end up with users posting the, Reddit and GMK and what, not GMK, Geekac. But I think a lot of it is they do have a, oh my god, my words. They have a user base already that is active, and that is what helps get their numbers up. They have a lot of people that buy stuff from them and are willing to keep buying stuff from them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of what gives them the numbers advantage. That, and it seems like a lot of people are more willing to support an actual business than they are individual group buy runners that are just, to them, random people off the forums. Which I do understand that a bit. With an actual business, you have a whole lot more liability, and if there's any problems, you're just like, that there is a way that, worst case scenario, you will get your money back. Whereas someone off the forums, they can, just pull an Ivan, and that sucks.
Which I have an article about on topclack.com.
Yeah.
One thing a lot of people also forget about Massdrop is that their keyboard community is much smaller actually than a lot of the other communities. They sell a lot of things. They have tons of other hobbyist grade stuff, and like streetwear and like all sorts of things. So they bring in a lot of people that are not in the community, and they're probably responsible for bringing people from other communities into the keyboard community, because they'll run a keyboard or whatever, and someone that's there buying quilting fabric is like, oh shit, like this keyboard looks kind of cool. Maybe I should get one of those too, and that's, and they've been established for quite a few years now, and because they do pull in so many people from just around all different hobbies, it just makes it a lot easier for them to reach more people. Like you said, they don't really advertise that much.
On YouTube, they do an okay amount.
Do they?
Yeah, for a lot of tech channels.
Oh, yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah,
tech channels get hundreds of thousands of views per video for some of them that advertise for Massdrop. So it's a lot. And the way I see it is, Massdrop actually, even for their keyboard section, they have their own community that I'd say is almost different from RMK or Geekhack's keyboard community. That's kind of cropped up.
That's a little unsettling almost, but it's interesting to say the least to look at and try and think about. All
right. Well, we still have some questions here, so let's move on real quick.
Oh boy, what do we got?
Uber Dark asks, will you be joining any of the 5 current GMK buys?
No. Probably not. There's
Royal Alpha 9009 999. I guess Necro technically.
That did just start recently.
Yeah, Necro just started.
I think it doesn't start till tomorrow. Yeah, but it was announced Wednesday.
And then what did we just cover today from Tom Berry? Was it Eclipse? Eclipse is another one.
There's got to be.
There's one more. I mean,
I actually really like Necro.
It is neat. It's got a. It's not something I'd normally think I'd like, but just something about the colors just feels nice.
It's really it's really.
Well, Pristine. Pristine's the other one. Z-Frontier is running Pristine.
If I were to buy one, I'd get Necro, but probably not going to be able to afford it, so it doesn't matter.
I would say. Yeah, Necro is one that I would definitely look at. Although the icon mods are kind of throwing me for a bit of a loop. I prefer text plus icon, and I'd like to get in on Royal Alpha, but I don't know if I'll be able to afford to. Like, it would be nice to have a set from my own group buy, but
I'm not going to be buying keyboard stuff for a while.
Yeah.
Melodit comes up with several questions.
Oh boy.
Awesome.
Are any of you planning on joining the GMK Necro group buy tomorrow? So we kind of just went over that. What was Haata's overall opinion on the Holy Pandas? What plate material do you recommend for linear switches? Just those three, actually, now.
So what did Haata think of the Holy Pandas? He thought they were neat.
It's hard to impress Haata.
It's very, very difficult to impress Haata. No, he thought they were neat, and I mean that in a very genuine, like, oh, these are neat. That's all. He understands why, like, Brian and I like them. He understands why a lot of the community will really, really like them. But as a reference, when I went to his the Input Club lab, where Haata, it's basically Haata's lair, honestly. There are so many keyboards there. So many unique keyboards that, like, you would have never thought existed. Like, he showed me this old office keyboard where the top and bottom was all chrome. All chrome. The whole keyboard's chrome.
Damn.
I was like, damn, it was shiny and polished, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I saw my reflection in it, and I was blinded myself by how beautiful I looked.
Touch it. You left fingerprints.
I for sure left a single fingerprint on there. I was like, man of interest was here. You can use that for fingerprints evidence later as my alibi. Thank you.
Yep.
So he also asked, what plate material do you recommend for linear switches? I don't know, man. I like them all. Like, I like them all for different reasons. I think brass has been pretty cool. I've been liking that lately. I also really like acrylic. So I mean, brass and acrylic or polycarbonate, like those are probably my top picks right now.
Yeah. Plate materials are like switch selection. It's really depends on what you like, and you just gotta, try them a little bit and see what floats your boat.
I don't think any of them are like bad. Like none of them are the wrong choice.
No,
it's just preference. Avid User 2 asks favorite linear switches.
OG Hall Effect.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have all the travel.
Man,
I think they have like a centimeter of travel. It's ridiculous.
This is a big question. Big question for the Quake.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know. I haven't really thought about it that much. I mean, I'm really liking my Telios right now, which I recently lubed. Those are pretty good. For value, I really like the Kailh box switches, Kailh Burgundies. I think those are all pretty good. Heroin Bob, popular enthusiast, sent me these kind of vintage MX Black / custom Otemu top hybrids that are also quite nice. I'll be lubing and using those in the near future. But it's tough. Like if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably say Telios right now. But I don't know. There's a little bit more to it than that. What about you guys?
Well, my knowledge and use of linears is quite limited, as you all both know. Of linears, I have owned and do own box blacks as the best bang for your buck. Let's go box blacks then. I mean, eventually I'll try other things. I mean, I have a bag of Telios right here. I'm waiting for a keyboard to float my way.
What about you, Richard?
Like I said, just OG Hall Effect, like the micro switchboards. It is like I'd love to get my hands on one with enough switches and just hand wire it, make a mess out of it, and get it to work with USB. It'd be amazing. But that's a bit of a project.
Yeah.
It's Chow asked, what would it take to run GMK Godspeed? It would take Mito to make that decision.
Yeah, it would take Mito saying, yes, I want to run GMK Godspeed.
Or somebody asking him.
And him saying, him saying.
Either way, he has to say, yes, I will run Godspeed, or yes, you will run Godspeed.
Yeah.
So
And
there's a yes involved.
I would bet that he would say no to anyone asking to run Godspeed.
Correct.
It's either he's going to do it or no one's going to do it, probably. If I had to guess, based
considering what happened with False, yes.
Yep. That guy is okay to me asks, which style of connector do you like?
Oh.
Don't care.
As long as it's on a stainless steel cable, I'm happy.
I personally, kind of have a little spot in my heart for USB-B. It's just
so old school.
It's just neat. It's it's a really rugged connector. Like, I feel like it might actually fail less than USB-A will, and it's because it's so different than the others. I think the others, they're all flat. Well, it has the audacity to be a square instead of a rectangle.
I'm waiting until, hopefully I can work with you on this, until I get a aviator cable to really aviator connector to really judge that, because those look amazing. They look amazing at any rate.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm working on that. I'm just shuffling some stuff around for projects, but that's definitely on my mind, getting that to work. So,
Avid User 2 asks all of us, did we enter the Kira60 group buy?
Noperino. .jpg.
That costs money.
Yeah, it does.
Stupidly asks, are Gone boards better than WinKeyless.kr in terms of quality?
Equal IMO for aluminum cases, but Gone, in my opinion, has some of the best just polycarb cases. I used to have a polycarb Gone 60%. Absolutely loved it. I'm probably going to honestly buy another one just the case if I can't have one made by someone more local, because of how much I really loved that case. Like, honestly, it was a great case.
Yeah.
But in terms of the normal WinKeyless stuff you'd see, or the Gone stuff, kind of like this style, it's the same between both of them. IMO. I've had both.
Yeah. All right. Morning Coffee asks, Huey, how are the eyeballs?
Well, they're working. They're working.
All right. Huey's eyeballs are working. Just in. Avid User 2 asks, did you see Oko stocked GMK Miami this week? I did not see that. I don't care about Miami. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Megaforce asks a real question for once.
What?
I think this might be a real question. I could be getting tricked here. How do you feel about GMK Totoro? Is there actually a Totoro set?
Yes, it is on
GMK
the Mass
neighbor.
Drop. Is on the Mass Drop competition. It's my second favorite behind Bektor's submission. I don't know if I made it to round 2, honestly. I hope it did. I haven't been paying attention, because at least I don't care about the Mass Drop key set competitions, because I didn't like any of them except for Bektor's.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to check that out. Man, we still have quite a few questions to go through, so we need to try to rapid fire this a little bit. All right. So OG Master Keith asks, any news on Hiragana set and GMK Laser? I've heard nothing.
Nope. Still waiting. Still hoping.
Stoic Lemon asks, you guys weren't too keen on any of the entries for the Mass Drop poll. Have your opinions changed now since we're in round 2? Sorry if it's already covered. We did not cover that already. I have not seen any of the round 2 stuff, so I don't know.
I didn't like any of the round 1s, and considering the fact that the round 2 pulled from round 1, I'm assuming my opinion would stay the same.
All right. Avid User 2 asks, what keyboards/key sets do you guys got incoming? For keyboards, I have E6 V2, and I think that's it. For key sets, I have Oblivion GMK, Solarized Dark by GMK, and I think that's it.
You also have a 5-degree case.
Also, okay, I'll do a 5-degree case, and I have a couple things from Mass Drop that are probably more in the future. Like
Revo 1.
I do. Yes, I do have the Revo. Wow, how do you remember stuff that I don't? I totally forgot I ordered one of those.
This is my life, Brian. This is my life.
So yeah, I do have that. I also have the MT3 profile set from Mass Drop as well. I did order that a while back, and then I also have Nautilus. So I got like 3 housings and 3 key sets on the way.
Woo.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
What about you guys?
I
Quickly.
don't think I actually have bought anything recently for myself. Like, no, I actually haven't. I haven't bought anything recently. I guess I got a 96 key PCB laying around that I've been meaning to commission a case for from Jollymon, and I just haven't gotten to it. So
It'll be exciting to see how that turns out. He makes some great stuff.
he does. He's
really
actually the
nice,
one that I'm working with right now for the cases for the Donut 81.
Wonderful.
So yeah, so I'm thinking that'll turn out well.
Incoming things from me: 5 degree Revel 1, 75 SQ, E8 V1, lol, E8 E6 V2, Mira, GMK Dolch. I'm forgetting something. That's all I remember at the moment.
HHKB for Life asks, he tags Top Clack. Until Holy Pandas aside, which MX tactile do you like the best? Zelio versus Kailh Pro Purple versus Otemu Ice.
None. 62 gram Ergo Clear.
Yeah, I'm not in love with any of those options. I think Zelios are fine. I think they're expensive, but I think they feel fine. The Kailh Pro Purple is not too bad. I'd probably buy that over any brown switch. The Otemu purples are also pretty nice for the price. They're very similar to the Kailh Pro Purple.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are particularly amazing,
Mm-mm.
but that's just because I don't think any MX tactiles are amazing except for the Holy Pandas. So I wish I had a better answer, but Zelio.
And I just don't like tactiles, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Avid user, take a guess what I like. Just wild guess.
180 gram cookies. If I
Oh
remember
no,
correctly.
well, yes, that's true. But those are in the in here, and they're still.
Wait, what set is that?
That is
Jukebox. Where have you been, Brian? This is SA Jukebox.
No, I knew the alphas were jukebox, but I don't know if it's the lighting, but the mods look like something else to me.
Yeah, the lighting is a bit weird, which is unfortunate, but it's.
Man, that is still one of the best SA sets.
Oh yeah.
I basically stole this off of a Yanbo closet sale. Like I was up at 9 a.m. sitting there ready to push the buttons. So I got lucky on that.
Cursor TN asks, probably me, this. How is the lubed versus non-lubed Telios ready for preliminary report yet? Well, I did a pretty lengthy write-up a while back on stock Telios. I have not done any kind of report at all since lubing them. I don't know what else. Like, they're perfectly smooth. They feel great. I don't know what else to say. I lubed them with the lube that Zeal sent me. It was a thicker blend, which I'm not usually as big a fan of. I prefer the thinner ones, but I used it because he was nice enough to send it to me. But they feel great. They're perfectly smooth, as lube tends to help switches. Melodit asks, also, any thoughts on DSA Pulse dropping next Monday rather than Laser? I didn't actually think about that it's coming before Laser.
Yes. Honestly, they've actually got a kit in with the DSA Pulse that does have the same coloring as Laser. Like, you could basically call it DSA Laser and not be wrong.
But I mean, the issue is that it's DSA.
People have been really waiting for. Well, the issue here is, for the question at least, people have been really waiting for Laser.
Yeah.
And Mito instead puts out a different set.
Yeah.
When Laser was supposed to be next or whatever.
Yeah. I think I told someone, there is a very fine line between teasing something and dragging people along for something. So might be towing that line a little bit.
Dr. DB Bath says Oko sent out that mystery demon email this morning. Anyone know what GMK demon is? I don't even think I'm on the mailing list, so I didn't get that.
I'm not. I'm pretty sure I know what that set is, though. I think I know
If
what that.
anybody has a link to that, I would like a link to see what that is. If
I have a feeling I know what that is, to be honest. Red Dolce.
Because
oh man, I like as Top Clack grows and like the chat gets more active, it makes it so much harder to keep up with questions.
Don't worry, Brian. I have a solution for you taking and receiving questions and answers, actually.
Okay, we might have to implement something soon.
We will.
I feel like I've been like so far back.
That's fine. Oh, Demonic is a new monotone key set, 139, available October 16th. There you go.
That could be interesting because I don't know. For me, what comes to mind is if they're saying it's monotone, is Red Legends on black
Probably.
keys.
I mean, it's probably like DCS Sanctuary, which they also did, but except it's now GMK.
So.
LOL Shecky asks, how are we liking that Type 0 lube? So...
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we got... Krillbit sent us some samples of his new Type 0 lube. GPL 203 and GPL 204. It's not really a thin and thick, they're both greases. 203 is just ever so slightly thinner than the 204, but they're both still grease. I think the 203 is fine. I think the 204 is good. But I have yet to experience either lube on a full board, so my thoughts are still a little lacking there. That'll be something more to look forward to in the future. The really big selling point on these lubes are really going to be the price. Per ounce, it's theoretically going to be a lot cheaper than other Krytox blends and mixes and stuff on the market that people normally use, which are a lot more expensive than you really think. Like you spend like $9 to $10 or whatever on like a vial of like thin or thick mix from Tech Keys or whatever other vendor sells it these days. Like that's actually very expensive for how much you're getting. So the reason the Type 0 kind of exists is he wanted to combat the value portion. These aren't necessarily supposed to be like worlds better than the other Krytox blends. They're just supposed to be a lot more valuable and like money efficient, basically. Really looking forward to using the 204 on a full board, though. That's next up on my list.
I used 204 on a whole board.
You did. I look forward to using it on a linear board.
It's a linear board too.
Really?
Silent Reds. I used 203 on Holy Pandas.
203 on the Pandas.
204 on my Silent Reds.
Gotcha. Okay, my bad.
Which will be they're very interesting to type on. B-dubs. The housings make a big difference.
Yeah. Okay, I think. Oh wait, almost. Avid user asks: screw-in stabs versus regular, both cherry and GMK, of course. Many say screw is better. Why? Because they won't pop out of your PCB. Yep. That's like the only reason to use screw-in stabs. I mean, it doesn't happen to everyone, but it has happened to me where you're pulling off a keycap and maybe it's a little too tight on there, and you pull out a PCB mount stabilizer that isn't screw-in. And if you're using a plate, for example, it can be really annoying to put it back on. In extreme cases, you have to desolder the whole board just to fix it. A lot of times you can get really fancy with some tweezers.
That's what I usually do.
Yeah, I've been pretty good about that as of late, but yeah, sometimes it's harder and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But I try to go screw in whenever I can, just because it's not really a reason not to if you have them and they're available. They're usually not like any more expensive either. So.
Yeah, I want to say I know on my my B-Dot Mini, before I had some screw-in stabs in there, because of the it's got a plate on it, but the plate has cutouts for the stabs, so you can put the stabs in after you put the plate on.
Yep.
So it was really easy to just yank the stabs out of there when I was changing around keycaps. Really easy to put them in, but, you know, that's a pain. So I finally got some screw-in stabs in there, so no more having that issue. But it's just, yeah, you might not have the problems with, you know, pop-in stabs or normal stabs, but if you use the screw-in ones, you definitely won't have that issue. So it's a little peace of mind.
There are very minor trade-offs, depending on the stab placement on the PCB. Your metal screw might contact with one of the pads on the PCB, which can cause a short. Really easy to correct. You just take some electrical tape and you put it over the hole, or you wrap up the screw or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it fixes it every time. Like, that's not a problem. But another thing is, on some housings, a lot of like the acrylic sandwich style, actually the screws push out beyond the PCB a little too far, and they can kind of push into the acrylic housing. I've seen that on some like aluminum sandwich boards with an acrylic spacer. It'll usually push the acrylic spacer out a little bit.
Duck Viper.
Do you have that issue on the Viper too?
Yeah, because I originally got Zeal stabs, so I wanted to try it out because they're new at the time to put on this. The Zeal spacebar stabs were screwing don't work with Duck Vipers because the acrylic layer is too close because of how they have the PCB tilted, and it's just right there. So there's no space.
Yep. Dixie Max asks, where's GMK Savior?
We covered that once, I think.
Did we?
Okay. Oh, I thought that was just a reply to GMK Demon.
Could be. I feel like that was a real set too at some point, actually.
Wouldn't that be GMK Angel then?
Yeah. I feel like Savior was a name of something keyboard related though. But it's probably is a reference to the other one. Yeah, the Demon. I don't know. Hopefully. I mean, isn't that Godspeed then?
Custom 3 asks, is someone bringing Yarbo cables anytime soon to the West? I don't know what a Yarbo cable is.
They're like really...
Yeah,
Go for it.
No, I was going to ask. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I've heard the name, but I'm not completely certain what it is. So...
it's just like really thick, cool kind of cable. That's about it.
Someone tried to post a link, and I think it broke.
It has cool connectors. It has like a metallic... USB connector.
I remember now. It has
the springs.
Those, yeah. Basically, it looks like they shoved a USB mini, like they hollowed out an RCA connector and shoved a USB mini connector in there, which I'm fairly certain they actually might have, because I've never been able to find, never seen anywhere mini connectors that look like that.
It's pretty awesome looking.
Yeah.
That cable looks really cool.
Yeah, here's one where they actually put the RCA connector backwards and have the mini portion sticking out of it. So, that's pretty neat. It seems a little weird to me that they're doing that, but it's really creative of them to do that. Like, I wouldn't have thought, hey, stick a USB mini inside a RCA connector and sell it to people.
So you need to bring those connectors, combine that with your metal cables. We're set. No need for any other cable ever. Oof.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Oof.
Dixie Mac asks, did you all see the ATX key crawl? I have not, but he did share a link for it. Looks cool. I'm pretty much a fan of anything that is like a meetup or meetup related.
Yeah.
Anything that brings enthusiasts in the community together. Can't really argue with that.
That is... Where is ATX?
That's...
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. I'm pretty sure.
It's so far away.
When I hear about like ATX key, it sounds like a pub crawl where you'd go to like different people's houses and swap keycaps and type on keyboards. Then you'd go to the next person's house and swap.
That sounds awesome.
Which also sounds awesome.
That sounds great.
I mean, I hope at each place there'll also be a pint we could have at each place as well.
Avid user says my X60 video that I uploaded sounded heavenly. So yeah, if you actually follow the Top Clack official YouTube channel, I did upload a couple typing tests, one before and one after I altered my spacebar on my X60, and it sounds freaking amazing, man. You can feel and see it in person at the NorCal meetup where I'll be.
Yes. I will actually be uploading some new typing sounds videos up on the channel as well. I have a new microphone coming in tomorrow. Ooh.
LOL Shecky asked a follow-up question about the Yargo cables. Do they have any practical value?
They look bitchin'.
Yeah, that's about it. Aesthetics. Like, other than that, I don't foresee them having any particular advantage over your normal. I mean, I guess even just your normal cable. I mean, not like this, but like a normal braided cable. Well, I guess, yeah, because they're definitely thicker looking, which means they've got a lot of insulation, which would mean harder for animals to chew through them, just like with a paracord cable. But other than that, I think at some point they'd actually be slightly less practical because the connectors on them are just so big they could be hard to get into smaller spaces where you need them.
That'd be awesome. It'd be awesome if paracord companies did like animal chew tests. Like, it took our dog Scruffles 2.8 seconds to get through our competitor's cable, but 4.8 seconds to get through our cable.
HHKB for Life asks, is it possible to reassemble SKCM Alps without going insane? It seems impossible to keep the spring and click leaf in place. Really? I do it upside down. So like I have like the top housing, I put the stem in, then I put the spring in because the bottom and inside of the stem holds the spring in, and then I put the bottom with the leaf like in from there. So I just do it all upside down. It's always worked totally fine for me. Cursor TM asks, what mic did you get, Huey?
I am getting one from Pluggables, actually. Shout out to Pluggables and our friend Josh, who was also on Top Clack in the past. He is sending me a little care package from Pluggables. So shout out to Pluggables for that. I wanted to wait till next episode and you guys can hear me with my beautiful new mic to do that shout out, but also do it here as well. He is a swell individual. Pluggables has great entry-level keyboards. If you have any friends who are like, I have $50, but I want to get into mechanical keyboards, send them a Pluggables.
Yeah, that's like their whole like model is just like really good value entry-level equipment. Whether it's the mic, the keyboard, the mouse, they have like microscopes even. They have tons of stuff. USB ports or hubs. I mean, Avid User 2 asks, do you like the 65 layout like the Canoe or FC660C less than the HHKB layout? Yeah, HHKB is just better.
Yeah, HHKB all day, every day.
It's like not even a question.
I did see a Canoe in person last weekend though. The keyboard.
They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally caught up on questions. And we've been going for a while, so it's probably time to call it quits here.
Well,
probably. It's
as
there.
we call it quits, I just want to say a big shout out to our sponsors, Input Club and JellyKeys. Check them out. Check out Input Club. They open up the wait list for the Whitefox and the Nightfox. Great looking keyboards, especially that black Nightfox. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. A lot of variety of switches. Check out JellyKeys if you want to get into some awesome Kailh switches. Brian and I have been using quite a few of their switches. It's been pretty wonderful. I have the box whites. Brian has the pale blues. We're hopefully going to get some goodies from JellyKeys in the future to help show off and explain to you guys why they're awesome. Yay.
Yeah, he has a couple things coming out in the near future, and they're pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
They're
like
pretty
Giants.
exciting.
Yeah.
Not even just that's like the least exciting thing of like all the things he's doing. Like this dude's got some things going on.
Oh yeah.
JellyKeys, really good stuff. Also, promo code has actually been changed. It is now Top Clack. So we have a Top Clack.
Is it one word? Is it 2 words?
It should be 2 words. Top space Clack.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
So, yeah, good stuff. That should get you 5% off your entire order at JellyKeys. So make sure you order from there. Awesome guy, awesome store, and he has an outrageous amount of variety when it comes to switches and lots of really cool
so many switches. Like
just doing all my copy pasta.
So many switches.
I remember when he like first kind of became a vendor, he started like showing pictures of his like wall of boxes of switches. So I was like, wow, you got a lot, man.
Yeah.
As Huey puts things in the chat here, as you can see, we do have T-shirts available.
T-shirts.
Top Clack T-shirts are very, very soon. They're going to be shipping out pretty darn soon, actually.
Brian,
And,
yeah, you might have next week. You might actually have them.
yeah.
So Brian will be hopefully next week. Well, no promises, but hopefully next week he'll be modeling it on show. Or if he gets it early enough next week, he can send one to me, and we'll both be modeling them on show like the wonderful premium built people we are.
They're going to make even us look good, which is impressive. Anyways, impressive. Yeah, t-shirts, really good way to support us. Yeah, definitely buy those. Check those out. They're not terribly expensive, and they're going to look darn good. We do have an official Discord server that you can join us at and chat with us. That's usually the best way to get a hold of Huey and I, honestly. Like it's like if you need us like fast, that's pretty much the way to go. And yeah, other than that, topclack.com, still a pretty new website for us. All of our content is pretty much filtered through there. So if you ever want to know like anything, it's like everything's there. Everything.
Special shout out to Richard here, Donutcat, which is Donut Cables. If you want any awesome cables, check him out. He's also running a group buy for some awesome metal cables, running the group buy for GMK Royal Alpha. Those are some exciting things you have. Best of luck on those projects as well.
I'm hoping it'll go. I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Like so.
All right. Yep. Yep. So join us next week, same time, same place. You know the drill.
That's like,
and we'll have more good stuff.
I'll end with the Huey reveal.